Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we got for you. Max Kaiser's in the news, and guess what? I actually agree with him. I think you will too. Then we got the Fed, the FDIC, and the OCC saying crypto is allowed. We're going to talk about it. And how about this one? India ties with Singapore for cross-border payments. Does it equal Ripple? Somebody wrote that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content right now. $1.15 trillion market cap for crypto. We're off by 0.2%. Good morning, everybody. I got my voice back. I got my energy back. Don't call it a comeback because I've been here for years. Yeah, man, it feels good. Bitcoin, 23,900 plus. Ethereum, 1,600 plus right now. Tether is 70.6 billion, they say. I tell you, as much as the clarity we're going to talk about today for the space a bit here, and it's a small margin, but it's important. I tell you, until we know how the government feels about USD Tether, it's not over yet. XRP is 38 cents this morning. It's up 0.6% on 7-day. Ladies and gentlemen, you know Link 2 is a sponsor. I'm a customer. I love them. I love what they do. Don't miss them. They're going to be at XRP Las Vegas. Oh, my goodness. And so is Uphold, if you haven't heard the news. And so many others. Sologenic, Corium. The list goes on and on. Casino Coin. You better click that link and get your ticket before it's gone. But I tell you, the same thing goes with private equity, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's Ripple, PolySign, Link2, or any other incredible product on this platform, click that link underneath the video and get it before it's gone. I tell you, it is so important to understand that these things do not last forever. And if you want, you can even use your Uphold wallet to purchase the private equity. Yes, you can. Make sure you check it out and see if it's right for yourself. I tell you, it is a wonderful opportunity, and I love where they're going. Right here, Eleanor Tarrant tells us, and by the way, she's going to be at XRP Las Vegas. Government watchdog Empower says it supports Rosalind Layton's motion to unseal the Hinman documents. Oh, boy, do I want to see them documents. I want to see them. I know y'all want to see them too. Say it with me. Give up the documents. We want to read them all. The public deserves answers from the SEC as to what exactly the agency knew about Hinman's speech and when they knew it. Oh, my goodness gracious, do I want to see those documents. And then there's this. There won't be many times, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to hear me say I agree with Max Kaiser. But I tell you what, he is on a roll, and he got it. I think he's got it right here. Listen to what he says about the SEC Sam Bankman-Fried FTX debacle and about how he believes that Gary Gensler was actually complicit and in on it, and there's some collusion there. And I tell you, I'm inclined to agree with him because it's one of two choices with Gary Gensler. He met with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried enough times to know that there was a dumpster fire for a business model there and what was going on. It would take no one any time. I could have discovered that there were if I saw the books. And I'm not that bright a guy. So the truth is, there's a reason why Gary Gensler overlooked in those meetings what was going on in that company and then awarded them with a broker-dealer's license. Take a listen here.
Well, for Tucker Carlson today, we sat down with a man who has participated in our finance economy and covered it and is one of the most honest people we know on those topics. His name is Max Kaiser. He's a big Bitcoin investor. And he assessed the Sam Bankman-Fried story for us. Here's part of it.
Sam Bankman-Fried, the key to his empire of fraud is that he created his own play money token called FTT, and he was able to create that without any oversight or any tie to anything underlying giving it value whatsoever. And this is a whole cryptographic scam that's been going on with the crypto market where individuals, and he's not the only one. There are many people that create these what are called altcoins or scam coins, and they create Ether is another one, or Cardano or XRP. These are all coins that are just created, and then they list these coins on each other's exchange, and then they buy them from each other to create a price, and then they use the enhanced price, which is now has a collateral value, to go buy something like Sam Bankman-Fried did, real estate in the Bahamas. Right. So it's a Ponzi scheme. And implied in the Sam Bankman-Fried crisis scam is none other than Gary Gensler over at the SEC, who should have been calling time on this a long ago, but we find out that he's actually involved and that there's some what I would call collusion. And the problem is in America, you have a country that's ruled by a kleptocracy. Every institution in America is tied to Wall Street in some way. They've all been financialized. They all use cheap money. They're all cross-collateralizing each other's assets. They're all using that money to buy real assets, and they're all undermining the economy in fundamental ways, which lead to inflation, which lead to unemployment, which lead to all kinds of dysfunctions in the economy, in our medical system, in all across the institutions. It all goes back to essentially the deregulation that happened 40 years ago, which led to the financialization and the over-indebtedness, the over-leveraging of the economy. And now in 2022, since interest rates are going up, that's the end of the mirage, that the bubble has been popped. And if the FTX scandal and the Sam Bankman-Fried scandal was like the last dregs of a 40-year bacchanal in cheap money, no regulation, and crooked bankers.
Look, minus the Cardano XRP comment, right? You know, I mean, I get where he's at. It's the last half that Max has got right. I mean, could Max just, you know, Max isn't going to get the whole thing right, but the last half of that, I think he's spot on. Look, I mean, like I said, Gary Gensler is either complicit or incompetent. Now, I don't know which one it is, and I think it's only fair to let Gary Gensler answer. And that's the part of this that I wanted you to hear. So ignoring the XRP slight that he put in there. Nevertheless, we're moving on. We got a lot to talk about today. Here's Gary Gensler telling you exactly what the plan is. And you know how I've said on this channel multiple times, many times. Some of you old enough will know the reference. Put it in the comments. And I tell you, this is what I have been saying all along, that whether it is the right side of the aisle in Congress or the left side of the aisle in Congress, they all have already agreed long ago that they are going to tuck the majority of crypto assets in a security framework. That's what they're going to do. And in 2019, Gary Gensler admits it on stage. I believe he was still working for MIT at the time, but forgive me if he wasn't. But take a listen. He's going to explain it to you.
Great. Okay, last question.
Last question.
Why don't regulators regulate cryptocurrencies out of existence? Aren't they mainly tax evasion and illegal activity conduits?
All right. So crypto came along. At first, nobody even knew it. The U.S. Department, I'm just going to use the U.S., but it's true around the globe. The first question is how to tax it. U.S. Department of Treasury between 2011 and 2013 figured that all out. And it's property. If you have a capital gain, you pay your capital gain, and so forth. We're going through this period now where we're sort of settling down, or some of them securities and some of them not. But it's not been, in really any country, the official sector's view that they've got to, what was the word, regulated out of existence? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some say China has, but they didn't. In the fall of 2017, China said they, quote, banned initial coin offerings and they banned crypto exchanges. Before they did that, about 60% of the trading between Bitcoin and fiat currencies was Bitcoin versus renminbi. And subsequently, it's usually 50 to 60% US dollars, Japanese yen, and so forth. So the Chinese authorities were basically trying to tamp down on renminbi, Bitcoin cross, but they have capital controls. For most other countries, the regulators said, we're pulling it inside the regulatory perimeter. It's an asset for tax purposes. We're pulling it inside the anti-money laundering, I'll call it regulatory perimeter. many countries have decided not to pull it inside the security or an investor protection perimeter. Here in the U.S. we have. Jay Clayton, I think rightly, the head of the SEC, has, because we have different securities laws in this country, which includes the word investment contract inside the securities laws. So the question is not whether an initial coin offering is a security, is it an investment contract? And if it is, then it's a security. So at the core is, I think most governments, and I would agree with this, feel it's not their job to ban something. It's to say this new technology will be technology neutral. Can we bring it inside the socially accepted parameters of tax law, anti-money laundering, investor protection, and the like?
And there you have it. I mean, he said it flat out. I mean, ever since the days of Jay Clayton, it has been decided and agreed upon. The IMF speaking even more loudly now about the fact that crypto assets should not be legal tender. I tell you, for areas of the world that have already made this decision, this may end poorly. And I don't say it with any pleasure. I'm just saying, right? I'm reporting what we see here. The way I see the tide and the tea leaves, my digital perspectives, not financial advice. However, this will take for now, and this came out yesterday by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. This is, in fact, the Federal Reserve System, the FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the Office of Comptroller of Currency, the OCC. Now, breathe a sigh of relief. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it goes into this crypto scary stuff and the liquidity risk, and it does the same thing for deposits and stable coins. But this is the part we need to understand here. This statement reminds banking organizations to apply existing risk management principles. It does not create new risk management principles. Banking organizations, this is very important to understand right here. Banking organizations are neither prohibited nor discouraged from providing banking services to customers of any specific class or type as permitted by law or regulation. Now, I don't know about you, but this seems like that light touch approach that we saw with another similar industry, like the alcohol industry. I'm not going to say the word, but I think you guys know that and how that was looked upon a couple administrations ago, right? So watching this closely, but they didn't ban anything, right? It just seems like this kind of, hey, proceed with caution. And then obviously the writing goes on to express where the volatility in crypto is and the chance for risk on runs of stable coins and the like, as you guys know. Now, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go to India and Singapore. This from Reuters. Yeah. India and Singapore launched real-time link for cross-border payments. This is extremely interesting right here. What are the chances Ripple could be helping these two countries with cross-border payments? And Con799 down here says better than ever. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at it, because we're speculating here. But we're looking at this, and we understand that in this, it says India and Singapore launched on Tuesday real-time link to facilitate cross-border money transfers between the two countries. First such for the South Asian nation. It says here that the world's biggest recipient of remittances, transfer of funds between two countries, will now be possibly using mobile phones to do the tie between India using the Unified Payment Interface and Singapore's Pay Now facility. Now, what's interesting about this, if we go all the way back to 2018, shout out to Mr. BXRP for this. And Bank XRP from 2018, UPI 2.0. That is the UPI interface that was just discussed in the Reuters article here, tying Singapore and India. In February of 2018, Ripple was invited to take part in the UPI hackathon for the National Payments Corporation of India, known as NPCI. How about that one? And then it goes on to tie in more speculation and ties here and all of this, right? We get it. But let me take you here now. Don't forget also that federal bank in India has partnered with blockchain payments company Ripple to facilitate cross-border payments, and that has been for quite some time now as well. And then we want to take a look at this. This here is Brooks Entwistle, and he's going to tell you, and this is very recent, from just a few days ago, where Brooks Entwistle tells us that they got a team of 4 people working on central bank digital currencies in Singapore. Now, are all of these things related? I cannot say 100%, but I'm feeling good about it. I'm leaning in, but that's me. That's my digital perspectives. Take a listen.
Well, we have a very big CBDC practice. It's now globally based. We actually, within the last couple of months, have put 4 people on the ground in Singapore alone focused on this. It's an important effort. It's an important suite of products. I think I really, related to this point exactly, is I think as an industry, we got to be careful about chasing every single new shiny thing. It tends to dilute business models. It tends to take people off course. And we've determined that in addition to our payments business, CBDCs are a very important piece of what we're going to do. However, we have found real traction with smaller governments, smaller central banks that need a holistic solution, a side chain, someone to come in from scratch.
Can you say the names for any?
I can give you a couple examples.
Cool.
Since we're in St. Moritz, I'll give you a mountain example. Our first MOU is with the Kingdom of Bhutan, who has a very forward-looking king, technology advanced, and basically decided he wanted a better way of moving kind of value around the country, whether or not it was payments or other issues they needed to do, and also to set up a system so they could eventually have remittances back into the country as well. We're working with Palau. We're in dialogue and working with a number of central banks around the world. At the China level and at the US level, there's a lot of people chasing that and a lot of people that have their own sovereign interest in mind, and so you got to be realistic about your impact there. But CBDCs will be an important topic for the entire industry going forward, and the interoperability between them, we think, has a real opportunity for many of us around the table.
So the question remains whether we're going to see a connection of Ripple between the new tie between India and Singapore, but we know that Ripple has deep ties in both countries. That's the important thing to remember. Whether they connect together with Ripple in there is another matter, but I tell you, I'm liking the chances. Then let's take a look at this. It's more secret sauce right here. This is from Greg Crypto. It says MAs allow us to predict potential trend direction before it happens, and it only draws trends from past price information. Therefore, past price information shows that the secret sauce for XRP price is when a bullish cross happens between the 50 and the 300 MA. And we'll just give that look right here. You can see where they crossed back here in 2017, 2018, when we had that massive, massive spike for the all-time high for XRP. And will they cross again? We're going to keep watching them. I think it really depends for some fundamental news like a resolution and positive favor for Ripple and XRP in the SEC versus Ripple case. That's going to do it for me, not financial advice from me or anyone else. That is my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.